Welcome back to We the Students, America's first interactive debate program. Tonight we have debaters from Miami-Dade College and the University of Miami, both discussing abortion and women's reproductive rights. Now let's get back to the debate, and the second question of the evening, that being, what role, if any, should the government play in a women's reproductive decisions? University of Miami, you have 2 minutes to respond.
Well, unfortunately that this becomes a governmental issue because we have to deal with the laws of it. And when I spoke earlier of the taxpayer, I wasn't just defending the taxpayers' opinions and how they want to address the situation. I was also defending the people that can't speak for themselves, and that includes fetuses, unborn fetuses. A child can live up to, or can live outside of the womb possibly as early as 24 weeks. And the government has a say in what can happen just because
the government is basically protecting the unborn child. These are the legal rights of an unborn child.
If we look at it as from Thomas Hobbes' perspective, and he thinks that he's a philosopher that believes that people who cannot harm or benefit do not deserve rights. But if we thought that, then we would not give animals rights. We would not give children who can't yet speak, like infants. But the fact of the matter is, fetuses still deserve rights like any other American citizen has.
But I don't really understand. You're already contradicting yourself in the only 2 minutes that we've been here. You started out by saying that you're very introductory. You said, "Who are we to say when life begins?" Yet you already are deeming these people American. You're deeming these life forms to be American citizens with full rights.
Because how are they not?
Okay, let's say theoretically you have someone from a different country fly into America with a fetus. They come on vacation, visit New York, see the sights. They leave town. That baby, that life form that's growing.
What does that have to do with the abortions?
Would you concede?
I'm saying that it's not an American citizen just because it's inside of someone, because it's in a process.
But if it were born here, it would be an American citizen.
Exactly, if it were born.
Would you consider
begins at birth.
Would you consider
As
something?
you already stated in your opening statement, you said that we can. Who are we? I'm quoting you. Who are we to decide?
But what
when
if
life
it begins at conception?
Now you're saying you're deciding.
No, I said, who are we to decide, but what if it begins at conception? So how do you know? Who decides that? Yes, we can't necessarily make someone that's the overwhelming
Well, I think that's
power.
what the question we have now is as far as whether or not the government's role should decide and where they decide.
The government has a role as long as they have to fund abortions at Planned Parenthood. Why is Planned Parenthood
the money that you're talking about for Planned Parenthood isn't solely for abortions.
But
the money you're talking about also funds those other forms of birth control which you were talking about, including condoms and free.
But you know that Planned Parenthood's overall budget is around $1 billion.
And you're saying that all goes to abortions.
No, I'm saying that Planned Parenthood has a $1 billion budget, and of it, about a third of it comes from the government. What percentage do you think goes to abortion?
I'd say very, very little goes to actual abortions. I don't think Planned Parenthood is paying for anyone's abortions.
So they would spend the other, let's say they
what
spend 20%.
Planned Parenthood is doing is they're using that money to lobby for women's rights. They're using that for sexual education for America's future generations.
You know, you keep talking about women's right, but what about the right of the unborn child? Would you consider somebody with a beating heart to be alive?
Somebody, yes. And some sort of self form, no.
Because a fetus has no sense of conscience. It doesn't have a state of mind. It student states it in our research that it doesn't have the in the first trimester, which is all what this law focuses on. It's the first trimester. It doesn't have a fully developed brain to even have a say, I guess, if that's where you want to head towards. So we're really not killing.
Thank you. Now let's check in with our correspondent, Camille Brown, to find out what the viewers are saying about this issue. Camille?
Thank you, Kate. We the students received this Facebook message from Janelle of the University of Florida, who asked, if the state government can make laws on the decision on whether or not I can keep my baby, where's the line? Will we become like China and have them regulate how many babies I can have too? Now back to you, Kate.
Thanks, Camille. Once again, the question posed by Janelle is, if the state government can make laws on whether or not to keep a baby, where's the line? Miami-Dade College, you have 2 minutes to respond.
This is basically the classic case of the slippery slope argument. When you start allowing the government to regulate women's, sexual lifestyle, reproductive functioning, it just opens the door. We've moved forward. As was stated in the 60s, forms of contraception were banned. We've moved past that. Then we had to conquer the wall emplaced by abortions. That's banned. Why go backwards? Why start taking rights away from women? Why start having governmental control over over a person's body? Again, this is something that's being forwarded by Tea Party members primarily in recent months. These are people that are claiming they want less government involvement in people's lives. Now, if they
From the
want less,
fiscal aspect, not from the social
on
morality.
every aspect is what they're claiming primarily. It's not just on a fiscal responsibility level. It's
Well,
also
the
on
idea
that.
of a conservative is that they believe that the government should be involved in the social moral aspects, because a society without any government involvement from the libertarian view cannot be a society at all if there's no one to govern or make laws.
Would
So
those same people feel that way about next week's topic as far as guns rights and all of that?
guns rights is a completely different issue.
I'm just saying, you're saying that they're not
But, like,
talking
right
about
now-
social
Exactly.
issues.
Right
This
now, it
is-
seems like you're branching off into another argument that we're here to support pro-choice and you're here to support pro-life, and it seems like you're trying to attack on the government and how just how this money's being wasted and everything, and it's not where we're leading towards.
But we're bringing in the governmental aspect because that's part of not just women's rights. And it's not that we're taking away women's rights, we're just giving fetuses
How
and
is
unborn
it not
children.
taking away? If a woman has the right to have an abortion now, and then you want to take
The
that away,
woman
how
has
is that not?
the woman has every right to give that child up for adoption as soon as it's born.
Yeah,
the woman
but,
does not
No,
have
I'm
to
saying
keep
right
that child.
now-
Allow me to interrupt you right there, for sure. Because the moment you're going through 9 months of pregnancy, if you're going to donate it to an adoption agency, I don't think that's what you don't realize. Because you're a woman there, you get emotionally attached to what's inside of you. It's it messes with your mind. It's not that easy. Just going to
So
the
you're
abortion
saying an
center.
abortion is not going to mess with that
Most
woman's
women-
mind?
most
It
women-
does. I agree with you.
Exactly,
It
it
does mess
does.
with your mind, because my mom actually went through one before she had me, and I know what she went through. It is hard. It's not like any girl walks into an abortion center and be like, oh yeah, today I want to abort because I just don't want this baby and it's just a hassle. They do it because under the circumstances they're under. It's because of rape, incest, violence,
well,
and all
the
these other
percent-
factors.
yeah, but
that
the
come into
But
percentage-
the fact that the
the-
percentage is rape and incest is about
It's
1-2%.
It's 1%, yes, but there's
Yes.
many. Now multiply, there's still thousands that are being caused by that 1%.
But it's 1%.
1-2% if it's
And then
Out
I
of-
also-
out of
and
100%.
And listen to that 95% you mentioned before, because I did listen to that. It's 95% of unwanted abortions. Unwanted babies. Yeah, the unwanted 95% is because of because of the situation economically they're in. They cannot financially support the baby, but they
So
do
you
want
give
to
it
have
up for
some-
adoption.
No, but
You don't
you
kill-
get emotionally
plenty
attached.
plenty of women that thought about having abortions don't regret necessarily keeping their child. And you said that women who get attached to their children, it's true, they end up keeping them, and that's the best situation, that they keep their child because they were the ones who were irresponsible in their sexual activities, and they end up getting a blessing out of it.
I do agree, and actually that brings me on to my point that since of 1995, there actually has been a decrease in abortions. So I don't even see why we're arguing this. It's not something valid, because the further more we go into time, the lower the rates are going. It's not even something that
But it's becoming more available. So how is that going to guarantee
yeah,
that rates
because
will
we
just go
need
down?
options. We're living in modern times. We need options. So just like we have rights to anything nowadays.
Also, that statistic could just mean that they've gone from legal ways of doing abortions to illegal ways because of the economy. That doesn't necessarily mean.
Economy would have nothing to do with that. I think that's a gross overstep on your
But
part.
don't you think that if it was an issue that you couldn't have an abortion, that people would maybe think twice before they just were uncareful?
Well, think about it like this. An abortion during the first trimester is anywhere from about $500 to $1,000. Now, if that happens versus raising a child, which is about $250,000, I don't think your financial argument holds any
Well,
water.
but that's if you keep your child. That's not.
Yeah, not
always-
if you give it up for adoption.
Okay,
So-
then
which is
also,
another choice.
Hospital charges alone are going to go beyond that just for having that. A birthing class is going to cost you more than that.
I mean, the government will pretty much
Oh, with the same Planned Parenthood money that you don't approve of, or
for children to make
what
it all
fund
the
is
way.
that coming out of?
to produce a healthy life. I don't think that.
To produce a
I
healthy
think
life
that
fund?
that's better than killing one.
I'm just saying, the issue here, what we're talking about is women's rights. We're talking about government intervention into women's rights, and you're trying to take them away. They currently have the right to have an abortion in this country. You are saying you want to take that away. Yet at the same time, you're saying you don't want to take away women's rights.
I'm not saying I don't want to take away them. I just want to give.
Well, if it wasn't apparent enough, abortion is one issue which can ignite passionate sentiments. When We the Students returns, we'll have the closing statements from our debaters. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.